Hello, everyone. My name is Alina Matsa, and I am the marketing director of I Am On Demand. We are a content creation and research agency, and our clients are high-tech companies in the field of cloud, DevOps, data engineering, AI, and cybersecurity. I'm very excited to be here with you today, and my talk is going to be about expert-based content, how to build your brand's expert-based content machine. A few things about myself. So my name is Alina. I am the marketing director. I am originally from Greece, from Athens, and I've moved to Israel 5 years ago. I've been living in Tel Aviv. And if you guys haven't been, I highly recommend you to come for a visit. I come from a background of international relations. I worked in diplomacy in the past. Yes, I like politics, but ever since I came to IOD, I fell in love with tech marketing. Apart from that, I love traveling, sports, windsurfing, etc. Before we go into the presentation, I would like to show you our first promo video. We released it last month, and I really hope that you're going to like it. It talks a little bit briefly about our services. So enjoy. So this video talks about the need to bring an expert in your content production team when you're creating a content machine. I'm going to elaborate a lot on this throughout the presentation, but that was just in a brief to see about the services and in general what you need in order to build your machine, your content machine. So this slide is kind of self-explanatory. I assume that most of you know about content. So it talks about the benefits of content and why you need content. What I would like to say at this point is that we see content as a long-term investment. So, and this is how organizations and companies should look at it. You cannot create one blog post today and tomorrow get the ROI and the results that you want. So plan and invest time and resources and be sure that you're going to see the results in the coming months. It's not straight away. Next slide. Okay, so content marketing. Some people say that content marketing is divided into two parts. We have 50% of creation and 50% of distribution. At IOD, we debate that. We believe that when you are building a content machine, it all starts with the infrastructure, which is the content itself. How do we have developers that they have servers as their infrastructure? This is content for marketing, for the marketing people who want to create their marketing machine. So the importance of creation for us is 70%. If you do great content, the audience will come to you. We have seen cases where distribution has been relatively low or like poor, but the content was so good that the ROI was proven. In this presentation, I will talk about the machine fundamentals, planning the editorial, and production of a single piece as a representative of how it is to create one article. So let's start. The fundamentals. When we are looking at the base, what is it when you're building a content machine? I will say a lot of things to you that might sound obvious, but if you really think about them and you put them in order, it will help you a lot in order to create a process that will be much easier. So when you are creating content, think who is the best contributor for your content. Who is the one that your solution resonates with the most? The one who is to create this blog, it's your target audience. It can be your clients, or if you're targeting developers, they are these developers. They are the one who should create this blog. Why? Because they understand the pain points of the industry. They understand the pain points that your solution is covering. So when you're building an infrastructure for your contribution, make sure to understand who is the target audience and have them create the blog for you. In B2B world, and especially in the world of experts, the terminology for around who is the target audience varies. It can be C-level professionals, it can be developers, experts, practitioners. You need to understand that the thing that all of them have in common is that they are experts in the field. So when you are reaching out to them with your content, we need to appreciate this fact. CTOs today have practitioner flavor, and they know and they appreciate content that is called, as we say, expert-based. They understand what you're talking about, the solution and what you're saying will resonate with them, and they will appreciate your brand because of that. When you're building a content machine, you should take into consideration that it has to be expert-based when it comes to planning and expert-sourced when it comes to knowledge. Okay, so in our network, we have 3 different skills. We have the experts, and we have the writers and the editors. There is always this question that we are asked. What is the difference between a writer and an expert? I'm asking for a writer and you're bringing me an expert. Why? So there is this notion that when you want to create one blog post, you are looking for one person to write it, but then you end up with a whole production team. When it comes to the difference between writer and expert, you need to think of a writer like someone who really knows how to write, and an expert who really knows technology, who has the hands-on expertise. So marketeers, when they want to write a blog or when they want to plan their content, they ask from a writer to go out and do the research. And the result is kind of disappointing because the writer does not have the experience in order to go and find the necessary resources and bring topics on the table that will resonate with you, that will resonate with your target audience. So then the marketer says, okay, the writer did not do the job, I will go to the expert. The expert can be the developers of your company, it can be the CTO, but think that this will take a long time because these people, they are not writers. They don't know how to write. They have their tech expertise, they know the product and service, but they cannot write. So what do you realize in the end? You realize that you need to bring them both. So you bring them both together, and then you're trying to create something, to fix something, like a process that it can scale. When you do that, you need to understand what each one of them can bring on the table. The writer can talk about the story. They can understand the marketing needs. They can do basic research for the domain that you're playing at. But the expert knows exactly what you're talking about. You can tell them who is your target audience. It can be a cloud architect or it can be a developer, and they will come up with amazing ideas about your topic, about what you can write. Why? Because they come from this world themselves. They can do research very easily. They can go and find resources, magazines and stuff because they know what is the world that we are talking about. They can do, and they can also write amazing comparison articles, open source 1 vs open source 2, for example, because they are experts on that. Perfect. So now you understand the difference between a writer and an expert. Let's talk about the magic formula, as we say. So the capsule is a team of 2. It's the expert together with the writer / the editor. There are different options when it comes to the types of content that you can create, like a single asset that you can create. If you're looking at how-to guides, the writer is not relevant. The one who should write about it is the expert because they are the ones who know. Then the writer and the editor, they can go in the brief, fill in the gaps basically, make sure that there is a flow, that there is a structure, and it looks like a blog that resonates and there is a flow, and it is not just challenges 1, 2, 3, but there is kind of a connection between the sentences and the paragraphs. So this is one way of creating an article. Another way, which is one of the pain points, again, of marketeers is, and of me, for example, is that experts, they cost a lot. The CTO hours cost a lot. So what you can do is that you can bring them in touch, bring the expert together with a writer. The expert will brief the writer, will say what are the main points that we want the blog to be based on, for example. They create together the outline, and then the writer takes it. This way you save the time of the expert and you save also costs. Perfect. So your expert community. We understand that we need experts in our content production team. So let's talk about how you can create this expert community. When you want to create a community, you need to understand who will create this content for you. Where are you going to find this person? And why would they like to contribute in your content marketing channel efforts? What are their incentives that they would like to join? At IOD, we have a network of around 300 people like that. 70% of them are experts in cloud, DevOps, data engineering, cybersecurity, and AI, as I mentioned before. So about your community, where are you going to find them? They are bloggers. You can find them in Medium. But if you really want them to engage with you, you need to understand why they would like to join. So they would like to join because they want to get paid for their research and they want to develop their blogging skills. Sometimes the hierarchy here might vary, might differ, because you might find this blogger who has this amazing job in this technology company, like he's a CTO. So compensation is not his incentive. The incentive is to develop their blogging skills, because this is what is going to help them in their career. So sometimes, you need to differ between compensation and blogging skills. Sometimes it's like the other way around. Another reason is that they want to become influencers. They want to see their names in the blog that you are publishing. They want to get, like, what we say, byline. Why? Because they want to get presence and build their portfolio. Also, like everybody, they want to be part of a community, of a network. If you want them to engage more with you, create a community where they can be leaders at. This way, really, they will engage. Technologies in social environments, they want to be also exposed to new technologies and to new brands. They want to engage with edge solutions. This way, they will get interested in your product, they will request a demo, and they will get excited to learn about this IoT innovation. What do they need? They need to feel challenged. They need to feel that what they're doing is creative, that they are building their presence. In general, we are thinking, and I recommend you to think of this freelancer as someone who wants to influence, who wants to share their knowledge, and they want to enhance their blogging skills. Let's go to the planning part of the slide. So, where do I find these bloggers, these techies? Again, this slide is kind of self-explanatory. I don't have to elaborate here. You can find them in communities like Reddit or LinkedIn groups, social networks like LinkedIn, bloggers in marketplaces like us, IOD, Upwork, and not only online, but also in meetups and conferences. Ideation and topics. This is a whole thing as part of the content marketing machine. So ideation and topics refers to the research, content research, and editorial planning. At IOD, we have our own ways to generate topics. When I'm talking about a topic, I'm not talking about 5 challenges of deploying X on AWS cloud. This is not a topic. There are hundreds of challenges. So you really need to understand what this title is all about. You need to do deep research and learn where did this idea come from before you put them into your plan. And there are different ways to do research. One of them is brainstorming session. There is this notion that marketeers are inviting 7, 8 experts, developers, and CTO and their CTO on the table, and they say, let's do a brainstorming session. So the marketeer asks questions about their content, and the developers, the experts, they don't give the necessary answers. They might not even be interested in it. So they end up getting nothing, the marketeer. You end up wasting your time. They end up wasting the expert's time, the CTO, and they're harming the trust between the two teams. When we are going into a company as content strategists, we make sure to do one-on-one with the CEO and the CTO of the company. And trust me, their answers will differ. The CTO will say that the target audience is developers, while the CEO will say that the target audience is our CTOs. It doesn't mean that they are wrong or they are right, but you need to hear all the voices. And as we want to understand what type of content that they would like to create. So it's very, very important to do one-on-one brainstorming sessions. There are 2 types of strategies. There is this one that the CTO comes up with this amazing idea, and then the marketeer goes and creates this article. It takes 1-2 months. You create it, you push it, you distribute it, but you get no traffic, 0 ROI. It doesn't mean that the CTO's idea was wrong or that it was not good. He's an expert, he knows. But something happened and it didn't actually attract the reader. It wasn't the type of content that the readers want to read. The other side is trends, analysis, and content discovery. You need to know what worked best for your competition. And the competition is not necessarily like your direct one. It can be a CIO magazine, it can be an AWS website, whatever. You really need to know how to do research in your field in a way that it will bring you with ideas in order to create your content. I want to clarify at this point that I'm not talking about the marketing strategy or a go-to-market. I'm purely talking about content strategy and editorial planning. So before we go, like as a practice at IOD, before we go into deep research, we want to have some input. This input is coming from brainstorming sessions. It comes from marketing agenda. We need to know basic keywords, list of influencers, magazines in the space before we go and we allocate so much resources in order to do this research. So I highly recommend you to have input first and then go into deep research. And besides that, there are other few things that can influence your content strategy. The pain point, of course, which you will tell me, of course, it's trivial. We know we need to write about pain points, but yes, you have to. And you also need to understand what your users use in your product. Marketing and product management, they need to be connecting on a regular basis in order for the marketeer to understand how the users are using the product. What is the user journey? A product marketeer, for example, a product manager, he wants to try to solve a specific pain point. Okay, so you can help him as a marketeer. You can write a whole article about it, see what is the response of the readers, and then give a great feedback to the product manager. So both of you get the best of the 2 worlds. You have a new topic to write about, and the product manager is getting feedback and gets input for what he wants to do, what solution he wants to give to the users. Another thing that it is very, very important is to, yes, to analyze the competition, but to also track down past activities. Analyze your assets. Look what you did 3 months ago, and if it worked, do it again. Repurpose content. I'm not sure, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but repurposing content is one of the best practices in content marketing. Social networks. Analyze social networks. Go to Stack Overflow, check out the questions, and try to answer. This way, you can create a whole article based on these answers for this specific question. And another important thing that professionals do not do, I have learned how to do it, and it's very beneficial for me when I want to generate topics, is to be in touch with the stakeholders of the company. It could be also clients, users, contributors, even investors. Go talk to them and ask them for their ideas. So then you can see what works best for you, and you can create a topic based on that. I don't know, you guys know about Basumo? I'm not expecting an answer. I know that half of you will say yes, the other half will say no. This is always the case with Basumo. So Basumo is a very nice tool for discovery. It's not SEO based, it's based on social performance. You basically go in, you pick a domain, and then it ranks everything, the content based on the social performance, like likes, shares, votes, etc. It's a very nice research tool. We are using it a lot, but you need to be careful with it because the ranking is based on social performance, as I said, but it doesn't mean that the content is necessarily good. It can be fluff, and you don't want that. Believe me, experts, they know how to recognize fluff, and it's not good to have it as a part of your blog. Use it as a tool for discovery, as part of the decision-making process. Don't use it, don't base your decisions only on that. Another cool thing about it is that it shows you long tail content that was published, for example, 2-3 days ago, even before the search engines get familiar with that, are aware of that. So you are in front. Okay, this is about Basumo. I recommend it. We use it. It's a very nice tool. This slide is my favorite. Why? Because we are answering all of the questions that are typical and they are asking us on a regular basis. How many articles should I publish per week or per month? What is the cadence? Do I have to publish about my product, the overall world? What do I have to publish? How will it convert? First things first, content is a long-term play. If someone thinks they can create an article and tomorrow you guys are going to get the ROI that you are looking for, stop. You have to think long-term. Think of 3 months plan, 6 months cycle, and then go to a whole year. Go back, look what happened to your traffic, look what happened to your KPIs, and then optimize and scale. When it comes to the number of blog posts that you can publish per month or per week, if you publish once a week, you are the noise. If you publish twice, you are more about the noise. What we recommend and we suggest to our clients is to aim for 1.5 articles per week, meaning 6 articles per month. For some, it might be hard to create 1 article per week. For some, it's even hard to create 2 articles per month, especially if you're starting now. But especially again, if you're starting now, it is okay. Start slow, learn from it, and then scale up slowly. I want to clarify that when I'm talking about a blog post, I'm referring to a blog post of 1,000 words and above, 1,000 to 1,500 words. Some of our clients even go up to 2,000 words. And then we're asked this question by the marketeers. Who reads a 2,000 word blog post? It's so long. Really, who is going to read all of this? Your tech target audience really is going to read this thing. It's not going to be the marketeer, but it's going to be your tech target audience, the tech experts. So do long content. If you manage to do that, you will really get the traffic that you want. Another thing is that you need to understand where you are in the funnel. There are 3 stages, the top, middle, and lower part. You basically need in the upper part to talk about the pain points and how you're covering them. You can talk then about the market and the different solutions and options. And then in the end, you can talk about your product, use cases, and specifically about your solution. As I mentioned above, you can start slow and then you can scale. You don't have to produce 6 blog posts per month. You can do 2, 4, and then you can do 6. Let's continue. Blog post pillars and formats. Let's say that for every topic, an idea, there are different dimensions, okay? It can be promotional and it can be thought leadership. Everyone hates promotional. They're saying, I don't want to do promotional. I just want to do good for the community. But think of creating promotional that at the same time does good for the community. Look at this presentation, for example. I literally don't stop talking about our services, but at least I really hope that most of it will be valuable for you and you will go back home by getting something and get started with something without using our services. Authenticity is very, very important. If you ask me, it's really what matters. So try to be as much authentic as possible. Yes, but you need to differ between promotional and thought leadership. Types. When it comes to when it comes to types, we have like list of tips. List of tips. It can be list of tips to increase your salary. Tips of how to travel in Greece, for example, in the Greek islands. It's not promotional, but it's good. It's a very good example. How-tos. How-tos work amazing. You know why? Because it's all about the article. It's not about the money. It's not about your conversion. It's the article itself. If you get the tech expert to use your article on their daily basis or regular basis and help them in their job, go copy paste the code and stuff, you are a rock star. They will get to know you, they will get used to you, they will talk about you, and they will use you in the end. Then there are, product reviews, influencer pieces. I'm not sure about that because you end up paying tons of money for an influencer, and I'm not sure about the ROI there. Anyways, comparison, X vs Y, and then you have a conference review. Conference reviews is very interesting. We did it for the first time, when was it, like 2 months ago around. So basically, my CEO and myself, we went to AWS reInvent conference in Vegas. And when we came back, I created a series of blog posts, and we were covering the expo floor. It was very interesting for us because all of these companies that they were at the expo floor could be our clients. So basically, it was interesting to discover new technologies, write about them, and cover it in a series of blog posts. If you want, you can go to our blog and check it out. It's called the AWS reInvent Conference Recap. So it's very cool. Try it out. Content pillars. It's very, very important, the pillars. Think about them like themes, like groups of content categories. They should be part of your strategy. You need to build your strategy and put priority according to the pillars that you define. Each pillar has different kind of planning, target audience and stuff. So separate it and go for it. Length. I spoke about it before in the previous slide about the best practices when it comes to the length of a blog post. We have seen real cases where the traffic grew 6, 10, 15, even 20 times per year by producing and generating blog posts 1,000 words and above. I told you about like even 2,000 words. Less than that, it's okay. You can build your cadence, you can publish in your blog, but what will make a difference is 1,000 words and up. White papers are nice, are very good and they work, but make sure why you need them. It can support your campaign and everything, but it's a lot of work. You might prefer to create 2 blog posts and then combine them into one white paper, or you can do the opposite. Videos is another world. I love videos. I'm not going to talk about it in this presentation. Maybe we will do it in the next one. But if you're doing videos, amazing. It's one of the best things you can do for ROI. But if you're starting just now, it's very hard to do. So, but try it, really. Go, publish, fail, go back, rewrite, publish again, and when you feel comfortable enough and confident enough, come to us. We will take this burden out of you. Okay, podcast, infographic, etc. There are others as well, other types and formats. Let's continue. Your voice, your states. There has been cases where we have, for a single piece, we have rounds and rounds and rounds of reviews. It doesn't mean that we're not doing our job well, but it means that the client is not ready to go on stage. You really need to understand who is you in this world. There is you when you are at home with your husband or wife and your kids. It's you when you are with your friends. It's you when you want to represent your brand and showcase. So try to position yourself. I want to tell you something based on my experience. I'm creating a lot of content, and I want to advise you, be brave, be transparent, and release. Really release content. You will learn where you're going to fail. If someone comes and criticizes your blog, your article in Reddit, for example, it's great. First of all, you will learn, and if it was a mistake, you are not going to do it again. You will be much better next. If you're sure about what you wrote, you go into the chat and you start talking about it. You say why you did it. I hear you. Yes, you might be right, but listen why I did it. And voila, you have a discussion. This is about that. Let's go to the the content production team. Randall Lane is a chief editor at Forbes, and my CEO, Ofir Nahmani, knows him personally. They were together. So Randall goes to Ofir and he asked him, what is the most important thing when you're creating a content machine? And Ofir said, the freelancers. Why am I saying that? It's because the production team, it's very, very important. Check this list and make sure that you have it in your team. We have all of these skills. When you want to create your content in-house, make sure to answer these questions. Who is the content strategist? Who is the managing editor? Are both of them you? If it is you, do you have time to write? If you don't have time to write, who is your writer? And if you are a strategist, are you good enough in bringing topics if you're not an expert in the field? And if you bring an expert in the field, can you rely on him? And who is this expert? And at the end of the day, who will manage all of these things? If you want to create 8 articles per month, can you be all of this? Who will manage it? Go and check out this list and try to understand where you are right now when you're building your content machine. Processes: brief, outline, draft, packaging, review. Pretty simple, I think. I hope. Let's continue. When it comes to the brief, as I mentioned, there are people that come to us with amazing ideas. 5 challenges of solving the world's issues with Corona, or 5 islands to travel in Greece. Amazing. But I'm Greek. I know all of the islands, but I really don't know what you want from me. So this is the first stage of the article creation. Make sure that it is detailed. Put as much as information as possible. We call it at IOD the brief of the task. And it's about understanding the idea. What is this title all about? What you want us to write about? Talk about the voice, talk about your target audience, say what is the level, technical, not technical, points to consider. What do you want to mention? Do you want to talk about the best party islands, or you want to write about the most remote islands? Everything is mandatory in this brief, and it should be as detailed as possible. One more thing that I forgot to mention internally, it's the brief is bigger, but I couldn't have it all. Internal links, it's one of the best practices in content marketing. So you also want to add the links that you want to include in your article. I know that it is obvious to you that the title, of course, it's not good enough, but from our experience, I'm telling you that most of the content marketing people who know content, they don't fill it in a detailed way. Okay, so now we have the topic. Let's go to the outline or table of contents. We have defined the topic, so the next step is that, it's the outline. This slide has a small mistake. It says that it is 50% of the article. We beg to differ. We believe that this is 70% of the whole work. It needs to be detailed and show how the article will look like. A lot of our potential clients come to us and they ask us, how are you any different from this freelancer or writer that we worked with who failed us over and over again? Why are you going to do a good job with us? People who are working with freelancers and with content producers, they have scars in their back. We start at this point, at the outline or TOC. We explain, when we speak with CTOs, we explain something that it resonates with them. When you do a spec for your feature, you want it to be detailed, because if you start developing the product and releasing it and the spec is not good, it will be a loss. This is how it is also for the marketeers. You need to do reviews and you need to make sure that the outline is detailed and it will have exactly all the information that you want to mention in the draft, so that when you move to the draft, you won't be surprised. When we go to the draft needs to fill in the gaps of the outline. From our experience, a lot of potential clients or clients have told us to fix articles. Yes, we can do it, of course. We can fix your article, but have in mind that most of the times it's a whole rewrite. We generate a whole new article. So if your draft is not good enough, if you're not happy with it, don't try to fix it. Go back and create a new one. It will you will save resources, time, money, and it's not going to be frustrating for you. Reviews. Okay, so if you have a good process, the reviews process should be smooth, not in terms of time, but in terms of expectations. It takes some time and it can be frustrating, but it is okay. For example, from our part, we can have 4 people reviewing a single blog post, especially if we have a new client. We can have the CTO, the chief editor, one expert, another expert. Then from the client side, they get to review. So it can take a long time, but some advices that I can give you is use Google Docs. It's a great tool for communication. It's not just to write things. You can have everything tracked. You can have all the comments, history, and everything. Make sure to separate roles. The CTO will take this specific part, you develop another thing. As a marketer, you're gonna take another thing, and make sure that each time one review. Don't mix between the reviews. Another thing is deadlines. We give clients 3 days to review their article. Otherwise, that's it. I'm kidding. It's not that's it. We are pretty flexible, but deadlines are very, very important. Like in every project, you need to put deadlines in order to keep the ball rolling, as we say. That's it when it comes to that. Again, deadlines, separate roles, open communication, and it will be as less frustrating as possible. When it comes to packaging, a good writer takes the feedback that you have written from the whole blog post, and they can come up with nice ideas for titles. Ask them to give you 2-3 different ideas and different titles in order to choose the one that suits best for you. An advice that I can give you is that from our experience, we know that odd numbers work the best. So you can do 3, 5, 9 tips of something for your blog. Next one. Some other tips for marketeers are read it out loud. Yes, you heard it a lot of times. I know I also heard it a lot of times, but it really helps. And we have written a lot of things about the tension between tech and marketing. CTOs and marketeers argue a lot in general, but guys, someone needs to decide. And the ones who needs to decide, it's us, the marketeers. The CTO can give us great feedback. They can give us they can do the reviews, they can give us ideas, but at the end of the day, if the article is not good, we are accountable for it. We own the goals, we own the KPIs, and we need to own it. We are the ones who need to decide what content we're going to write about and how it's going to look like. A mini project, every article is a mini project. So I spoke about it in pieces throughout the whole presentation. So you need to have stages for each article. You need to separate roles. You need to set deadlines. You can use Asana tools for project management, like Asana, like project management tools and stuff. Go into details, 3-month cycle, 6-month cycle, optimize, go back. You can create one article in one day, but you really don't want to. The developers do not want to. No professional should want to. You need a plan. You need to plan ahead. Another thing that brands and companies do not do, but it is very important, and we do it, you should track the hours. We know how to tell, when we talk with clients, we know that their CTO is going to spend X amount of time for one article. We know that creating one article, expert-based 1,500 words, is around 23 business days end to end. It sounds long to you. It could be long, but if you do reviews, you will understand that this is how long it takes. If you create a backlog, you will always have something to publish while you're producing. So the length of the production for the production of one article should not be a problem. Plan ahead, have a backlog, and believe me, you will always have a cadence and you will always publish something on a monthly basis. If you want quality, take your time. If you want reliability and you want to feel proud about your blog, take your time, plan ahead. I'm almost done. Remember, build your production team, your contributor team, be consistent. Don't stop after 3 months. Continue. Try to understand the ROI. A lot of our clients, they do it amazingly. It's very hard to do, but try, push for that. And back to promotions. This is a real case with vast amount of content production on a monthly basis. a little bit of name dropping. And that's me. I would like to thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you for watching this video, for this whole journey. Let's keep in touch. This is my name, my phone number. You can find me also on the website, on LinkedIn. I really hope that it was valuable for you, this whole presentation. And thank you very much again for your time and for listening to me. Have a great time.